Hi everyone, welcome to ID Creatures. In this tutorial, I'm going to be using some markers to render this glue bottle sketch I did in a previous video. If you notice, this sound here isn't recorded live because the sound file messed up while I was recording it, so I'm recording a voiceover over the video, so excuse me if I mess any narration up. So here I'm using a Cool Gray 1 marker to give the bottle some form. So you can see that I'm indicating that the light is coming from that side, so I'm going to give this side a bit of shadow. And under the cap as well to show that it's an undercut. And maybe around the label too. And around the sides and the circular thing too. And on the cap, showing that it's a round form. I think I'm going to leave that top part white because I'm going to put some color there and the label as well. So now I'm going to take a Cool Gray 3 and give it a little bit more contrast, just going over those parts, but leaving a bit of Cool Gray 1 at the edge just to highlight the edge there. So I'm just going over the edges there again with Cool Gray 1. 3 I mean, and now I'm going to start blending them in with a Cool Gray 1, just marking over the edges so that it blends in a bit better. With Copic markers you can really blend the markers well. I think now I'm using a C5, a Cool Gray 5, to go over the edges a little bit more. And I think I'm going to add some color to the cap now. Or later on. Later on in the video I'm going to add some color to the cap, but now I'm just using the Cool Gray 5 to give even more contrast. I'm going over those little dots around the edges just to give it some more 3D feel. So I'm using that Cool Gray 5 right now to add even more contrast to make it pop a bit more. and blending it in with the Cool Grade 3. And now I think I'm going to add some yellow to the cap. And since I don't have a dark yellow, I'm just using the gray to shade the yellow a bit. You see that I've left some white there for a highlight to make sure that it's not all filled in and it looks flat. And I think I'm going to make the label yellow as well here. So just going to outline it to make sure I don't color outside the lines. And then I'm going to start filling it in with broad strokes. Making sure I don't go outside of those lines I've already drawn. So I've left some highlights there again, as you can see. Again, I'm going to use the gray. I think that's a Cool Gray 3 just to shade it in a bit. And I'm going to maybe mark out those highlights a bit with the pen. And put some shadow in the cap. I think I'm going to make the background blue here, just to contrast it and not use the same color all the time. So I'm just testing it on this piece of paper. So I think it looks okay. And now I'm going to outline the edges again with my blue marker. And also go around the edges of the product to make sure I don't marker into the product. So I'm going to start filling it in there. I'm going to use these long, broad strokes to try and fill in the background evenly. And I might leave some white there to show some highlights. I think that looks okay. So think here I will do the shadow with Cool Gray 7 or 5, I think. So I'm just popping that shadow back out with some gray. And I think that is pretty much it. Fixing the background a bit. And this sketch is pretty much done. It's just a quick sketch of a glue bottle, rendered really quickly. Maybe add a little signature, and that's it.